You are looking live at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. It is a beautiful day for a football game, a preseason game number 4 as the Eagles get set to take on the Jets, the final game of the preseason, of course. Welcome to the Kickoff Show presented by Axalta. Amy Campbell, Fran Duffy, the Eagles and the Jets, the 4th preseason game. Fran, it's been that way since 2001. These teams wrap up the preseason against each other.
Yeah, that's a nice fact. I've actually got one other fact for you. The Eagles are actually undefeated against the Jets in the regular season, 10-0 against the team from Florham Park, New Jersey. But also, they have another team that they're undefeated against, the Houston Texans. They're 5-0 against Houston.
Only played the Texans 5 times. We're going to have a little fun fact off in tonight's show. It should be a good one. Of course, Eagles Insider Dave Spadaro tweeting a little bit of insight for us, speaking with Coach Doug Peterson about the importance of the preseason. What is on the line for these guys? Friend, a lot of these guys are really, there's a lot on the line for them to make a good impression in this final preseason game.
Yeah, and this was kind of a somber way to start my Thursday, but the Eagles color analyst for the preseason games, Ross Tucker, who's been in the NFL, he had a long career in the league, bounced around. He basically came out and said, look, so many guys are playing their last football games of their career tonight. They may have been the best player ever from their hometown. They're going to have fields named after them in their hometown, but they will never make it to the NFL. It was just kind of a somber way, but really it's the reality of the league and something that all 32 franchises and all the players, all 90 men on each roster have to deal with over the next, we'll say, 48 hours.
Yeah, a lot of tough decisions ahead for the Eagles front office staff as they need to narrow down the roster to 53 by Saturday at 4 p.m. So a lot of decisions going to be made by then. Let's head out to East Rutherford, New Jersey to take a look at some of the warm-ups here as the Eagles are getting ready. Mark and Michelle, he had a really nice first preseason game. That big touchdown catch, that was kind of his preseason moment, getting his name out there in the mouths of Eagles fans.
Yeah, the brother of Sony Michel, the first-round pick of the New England Patriots from last season. You see Clayton Thorson, the rookie quarterback here. I think ultimately, Amy, you're looking for all these guys, all the young guys, whether they're rookies, first year, second year, just come out and just play fast, have fun, have a good final preseason game, no matter where you're at on the run when you're looking at this roster, ultimately when they go down to 53. Just go out, play fast, put some good film out there, and feel confident in yourself going into the weekend.
So, of course, they're going from 90 to 53. We mentioned that 4 p.m. deadline on Saturday. Sunday, though, there is the Eagles will be building the practice squad. They have until noon on Sunday to make their waiver claims, and then 1 p.m. to establish the practice squad. 10 spots on that practice squad, so still good impressions to be made by all of these guys who are going to be playing here tonight.
And this is obviously big, a huge weekend. There's, a lot of teams will refer to this preseason game as the scouts game because ultimately what you're going to see is the Eagles pro scouting department. They're watching the teams from all around the NFL, all 32 teams, because all 32 teams play today. And they're going to be watching and saying, all right, who's the team that's going to, or who's a player that could be falling by the wayside for another team that could come in and either fill out our 53 or be a fixture on our practice squad, because all 10 practice squad spots aren't going to necessarily be made up of players that are on the roster now. So this is a huge weekend for the scouting department, as they're not only watching the Eagles tonight, they're also going to be watching all 31 other teams as well.
Right, and a point to be made is, of course, this is a chance for a lot of these guys to make a good impression on the Eagles coaching staff, the Eagles front office, but a chance to put some stuff on tape when there's 31 other teams out there who are going to be looking for guys as well.
Yeah, exactly. And some of these guys, everybody's in a different situation, right? You might see, we just saw Wendell Smallwood take a carry there. He's been in the league now for 4 or 5 years, but you have other undrafted rookies that, maybe didn't play much last week, right, because of the shortened game. So they only have limited snaps that they've put on film for the other 31 teams. So tonight is a huge opportunity. And really, you could make the argument, the biggest game of their lives. These might be guys from Alabama, from LSU, from USC or Texas, some of the biggest college programs.
Big schools.
This is a huge night for them, and really a night that they can't afford to have go wrong. They're fighting for their professional lives here tonight.
Well, and it is interesting to see how guys respond to that pressure. Like you said, really a different kind of pressure when you talk about those big powerhouse colleges and guys who have been stars for a very long time. They probably have not felt the pressure, the specific type of pressure that they felt tonight. I'm sure they've been in big games. I'm sure they have, become those alpha guys and risen to those positions for a reason, but it's a totally different type of pressure that they're going to be feeling tonight. How do they respond to that mentally, and what does that mean for their game tonight?
Well, Amy, you covered the high school football recruiting circuit, so you're well aware of what it's like for guys as they're making that jump from high school, where all these guys, they're the best player on their teams, right, as they're going over to the college level. From college to the NFL, I mean, look, we're looking at Deshaun Hall here, who's had a great summer. Deshaun Hall was a big-time recruit, went to Texas A&M, played across from Myles Garrett, who was the #1 pick. He's a third-round pick himself. You think, hey, I'm a third-round pick in the NFL. I've made it.
Yep. And last season, he
18 months later,
out of a job.
He's cut 18 months later. So now you've got to go and reinvent yourself and make sure that you try and stick. And he's done a great job of putting film out there. Whether it's for the Eagles or for another team, that's what you're looking for from the Eagles. Because look, the Eagles are a team right now, they're competing to win a Super Bowl. They're trying to go and win another Lombardi trophy. So they want the competition. They want the cream to rise to the crop. And we've seen it time and time and time again over the last few years, whether it's New England, Seattle, Pittsburgh, all those teams. It doesn't matter where you came from. If you come out and you show this summer, every summer, hey, I belong here on the 53, you're going to earn a job. And that's ultimately what all these guys, all 90 players on this roster have looked to try and do. Just come out, play my best football, and hopefully earn a spot.
Well, and that really is kind of the Eagles' MO is to, we've heard this phrase throughout the preseason. We're challenging the roster. We're going to be making these moves. They brought in a guy less than 24 hours ago. There's 3 guys who've joined the team in the last 2 days. And so they just continue to add competition to every single position. And I think Jim Schwartz has put it best when he said every single player here that has been here, that has come through here, whatever role it is, they are a part of this team. They impact this team. They create the competition. And so every single person means a lot to what we're doing here. And it creates that depth. It creates that competition and a stronger team from top to bottom overall.
For all of these players that we see in this huddle right here, and we see players, again, a wide mix of backgrounds, right? All of them, somewhere along the line, when they were acquired by the Eagles, a scout or an assistant coach, even a front office executive stood on a table and said, we want this guy here in Philadelphia. This guy can help our football team. He can help us win. He can help us compete. So as all of those guys, filter out, and there might be some that the fans and media say, oh, he's not going to make the team. At some point, somebody in the organization said, this guy can help us, and now this is their chance to prove it.
Yeah, I think it's something that maybe a lot of people don't realize, just how many things have to go right for a guy to really have a successful NFL career. There's just so many little things. You talk about the depth in high school, the depth in college, and then again at the pro league, just guys who have long careers, how difficult that is, and how really admirable it is for those guys, especially the ones who have a long career at this league. It's really tough to make it.
Yeah, the human element of this whole aspect to me is just, it's one of the things that's always attracted me to the NFL and to football in general, because you just have so many factors. You have such big rosters. It's not like basketball where it's one-on-one or baseball where it's one-on-one. There are so many different things that go into success, not just individual success on the field, in one particular play, but over the course of time, over the course of season upon season. It's what makes it the best sport there is.
So the Eagles players ready to give their best tonight against the Jets. Let's head out to Merrill Reese and Mike Quick and see who they're looking to see in this final preseason action.
It's a beautiful night at the New Jersey Meadowlands as the Eagles and the Jets go at it in preseason game number 4. Mike Quick, we're not sure who we're going to see tonight or for how long, but nevertheless, who will you be focusing on?
Well, I think we're going to see Josh Sweat and Deshaun Hall, and Doug Peterson has made it clear that those 2 guys, they are fighting for that 4th spot at defensive end. So my focus will be on those 2 defensive ends.
Mine will be on the Eagles' rookie quarterback, Clayton Thorson, out of Northwestern. He was supposed to play last week, but as you know, the Lightning ended that game prematurely. But hopefully tonight, Thorson will have a chance to show how he's improved throughout the summer. And that's it. Back to you.
Great stuff. As always from those guys, I always love to hear their thoughts. Fran, they talked about Clayton Thorson, a guy who we didn't get to see much of last week. Oh, I think what was it? One pass?
Throw, yes.
One throw, not very much. We're going to get to see him tonight. He'll have some opportunity.
Yeah, I would say he's going to have quite the opportunity here to just kind of build on what he's done this summer. And I think too, you go back to what Mike talked about with being able to see Josh Sweat and Deshaun Hall. I would throw Sharif Miller into the mix. When you're talking about position groups, and not just that group, but all these positions across the scope of the roster, all these guys, this is their final opportunity, again, to just go out and prove themselves, prove that they belong in this league, that they belong on this 53-man roster. And it's just one small piece of the puzzle. This isn't going to be the end-all, be-all, just this game and how they perform. But everything that we see, we see, and then what we don't see. How do they respond to the meeting rooms, at practice? All of that comes into play. But certainly you want it to happen here under the lights.
Of course. And We're going to my favorite part of this show. We have Eagles insider Dave Spadaro standing by live from the field. Dave, what are you looking to see tonight in this action?
You know, it's interesting. There are, by my count, 44 players dressed for this game. So that gives you an idea of what a skeleton crew the Eagles have for the preseason finale. But there are jobs on the line, I think, at the running back position. Will the Eagles keep a fifth running back? Could it be somebody like Josh Adams, who led the team in rushing last year? Could it be Wendell Smallwood, who's been the cumulative rushing leader the last 2 seasons? Could it be Boston Scott, who offers a little bit more in the special teams? That's something for the Eagles to decide. At wide receiver, who's the fifth wide receiver? Matt Collins has the special teams ability. And then, of course, Greg Ward has really had a strong preseason. Who do they choose in that battle? And it may just very well come down to tonight. And then for me, and we've talked about it here, defensive end throughout the preseason here has been a big story. Josh Sweat and Deshaun Hall, Sharif Miller, all 3 of those players vying for what everybody thinks are 1, maybe 2 roster spots. Could the Eagles possibly keep 60 defensive ends? That will be very difficult, but you never know. As the first cut to 53 comes, we all understand that after that there's going to be some roster manipulations. And we know more than anything that Howie Roseman never sleeps building a roster.
I don't think you ever sleep either. That it's tough to be an insider. We appreciate your insight as always. Have a good game. Great stuff from Dave as always. Howie never sleeps. I sleep, I think, probably a little bit more than that. 44 players dressed. That was some really interesting insight. The skeleton crew that Dave talked about. 44 players dressed for tonight's game.
One less than what you'll see in the regular season for the 45-man game day roster. But it just lets you know exactly what the Eagles are dealing with now. You know you've got some guys that you feel good about that are going to make the team, and you've got some others that are injured that aren't going to play tonight. So you're working with these 44. Let's see what you've got here again in the preseason finale against the Jets. And Dave brought up some of those position groups. I think ultimately with all of these and how there's so many different parts of this because you're also worried about, how is the roster going to look week 1, not on this weekend, but Sunday. What is your 45-man roster going to look like when you play against the Washington Redskins in week 1? That's going to be a big part of what we see over the next 36 hours.
Yeah, of course, we've talked about just the difficult decisions that are coming up, especially as, Dave highlighted a couple of positions there. One thing that has come up throughout the preseason is the importance of special teams. When coaches are looking to make these decisions, when the competition is close at a very deep position group, special teams plays a major factor.
Absolutely. And ultimately, too, it's not just, again, who makes the 53, but then who is active on that game day roster. So, let's say you've got 5 receivers. Who's going to be the 4th receiver and who's going to be the 5th? That's decided by special teams. Who's going to be the 4th running back versus the 5th running back? That's decided by special teams. A lot of those positions, a linebacker, corner, safety, they all get decided by the 3rd phase of the game. Games are won and lost in special teams. So much hidden yardage in that phase of the game. It's very, very important, and that shows when you build your roster.
All right, so we know what Merrill Reese and Mike Quick are looking to see tonight. We know what Eagles insider Dave Spadaro is looking to see tonight. What about head coach Doug Peterson? Our preseason analyst Ross Tucker caught up with the head coach one-on-one. Check it out.
Here with Eagles head coach Doug Peterson. Doug, week 4 of the preseason. How much will tonight's performance go into those last few roster spots and you guys making those critical decisions?
Yeah, this is an important game for that reason. There are still some spots up for grabs. There are some spots that we need some depth and some players that tonight's game can impact that. And so this is a big game. I can remember even back in my career, this was a big game for me, as a competing for a 3rd string job, as a quarterback. So I know what these guys are going through. Just want them to play, relax, have fun, and enjoy the moment.
So for those guys that are in those contested spots, what are you looking for from them tonight?
Yeah, I mean, just want to see consistency. You want to see growth. You want to see improvement each week, and how well they can, this is kind of a pressure-packed game for them, and how well they can kind of block that out and just go out and play.
All right, so after tonight, the preseason's over. It is week 1 time in the NFL. All eyes towards Washington. Do you feel pretty good that your team is ready to go week 1?
Yeah, I think 32 teams can probably say that standing here tonight. We still have a lot of work to do. By no means are we, guaranteed anything. We still have to go and practice and work hard each day to get ready. The division opponent, to start the season. And I know our guys are excited. They'll be ready to play and look forward to next weekend.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck.
Appreciate it.
Great stuff there from Ross there with the head coach. One thing really jumped out to me, the empathy of Doug Peterson. He knows exactly what these guys are going through because he's been through it. In fact, he's been cut, so he understands all that these guys are going through and that they are going to go through as they move forward with these tough decisions.
And Doug's not the only one. Ross, obviously, as well, having a long career in the NFL. Look, when everybody's excited for the regular season to get here, but everybody that's around the league, the next 48 hours are tough because everybody, for the most part, has been through it. They understand. You're not just, John Gruden, if you watch the most recent episode of Hard Knocks, it's not just great players you're getting rid of. It's also people that you've been around, not just over the course of the summer, the course of the offseason, sometimes over the last year and sometimes even more. So a lot of tough decisions to be made for all 32 teams around the NFL, and it's the nature of the business.
And the other thing that Coach spoke about was just how do guys block out the noise of this moment? How do they rise to the occasion in this? We talked about it's a unique pressure. It's a different type of pressure in this fourth preseason game. And really, the harder the decisions are for this coaching staff and front office, that means the better that they've done their job. So it's really a double-edged sword there when you think about it.
It's one of the first things you hear the coaches and the personnel staff say to the team when they come in for camp is, make this decision hard for us. We want you to come in and play your very best and make it hard for us to get rid of you. And that ultimately, if you are a really good team, you're going to have these kinds of hard decisions. And that's, I think, what the Eagles have here is a host of really tough decisions. Dave touched on them earlier. When you mentioned it, the pressure cooker that is tonight, a lot of that we're not able to see. We don't see how these players are reacting in team meetings yesterday when they were at the hotel and they know, they're on the eve of the biggest game of their life. We don't know what's going on right now in the locker room pregame, how these guys are handling the preparation. What are they like on the sidelines? What are they like during halftime and then postgame? A lot of those little things, that all goes into the pie when you're talking about making these big kind of decisions.
Well, we can give you a little behind-the-scenes glimpse of how the team got to this point. The second episode of our series, Unscripted, is on youtube.com/Eagles. It's an exclusive behind-the-scenes look that you won't get anywhere else. And we got a little teaser for you. Here's a clip.
Team right now is I think we're in a good state of mind. Obviously, third week of training camp. We just wrapped up a few days training with the Baltimore Ravens. We felt like we got some good work in versus them. I think a lot of guys on the team is looking forward to September 8th and getting ready to play that first game here at the Link.
It's been a great experience so far, being able to come out here with all these guys that I watched growing up, some of them, and some of them just not getting to the league with me. It's been awesome, and to be able to come out here and grind and get better every day, and then showcase what we can do to everybody out here in Philly is going to be a blessing.
You can see the full episode of Unscripted on youtube.com/Eagles. Fran, how'd you like that car off the top of that little teaser there?
It was a pretty good ride. Reminded me of the one of that I might be behind the wheel of every once in a while.
Were you actually behind the wheel of that one?
Now, Amy, I do try to keep a little bit of a under the radar profile, but Unscripted is a great series. If you don't already subscribe to the Eagles YouTube channel, that's where you can check it out over the course of the season.
Yeah, of course, I love the behind the scenes stuff that we get here, access like nowhere else. And we've also got some more of that coming up. Rodney McLeod mic'd up. You're not going to want to miss that. For now, though, we do have to end our social media stream, so we will be exclusively on the Philadelphia Eagles app and on PhiladelphiaEagles.com. So continue with us there. We'll be right back on the other side of this short break.